Good morning. It's still dark out. And we're here in February on the new moon in Aquarius. And I woke up this morning after a dream that I stole some tea, 2 big boxes of tea. I had already escaped from the situation and someone said, "Babs, you should take some tea." And so I risked my life again and went back in to steal 2 big boxes of tea. No, not this big. They were like duffel bags full of tea, 2 of them. Earlier in the day, I had been drinking some tea, and so I said, I have English breakfast tea and I have Irish breakfast tea. And I thought to myself, what is the difference between those 2 teas? I didn't find the answer, but I just drank Irish breakfast tea that morning, yesterday morning. But anyway, so have a busy day, go to bed on the new moon, wake up on the new moon, and have a dream about stealing tea, 2 big duffel bags of tea. I don't remember if I got caught or not. I had some good dogs, though, with me. Good protector, big dog. But why would I be dreaming about stealing tea? I think I know why. I finished the book. I finished the book about my 6G aunt. So it's like, say great 6 times, and then say aunt. Because, see, I'm a great auntie. I am Great Auntie Babs. That's what I like to be called. This woman I read this book about was my 6G auntie, Ann Gregg. And that name, Gregg, was handed down, because Ann Gregg was a 6G aunt. Her brother, William, was my 6G grandfather. And so my grandmother, Louise Gregg, up until she got married to Joseph McGovern, was able to keep the Gregg name. And I don't know if it was a blessing or a curse. I know, later on stories I'll share, it didn't always ease her mind to be reminded of her relatives. And, well, wait, I'll start from the beginning. And I think that, unfortunately, when you see this, Ann Gregg, it's backwards because of some sort of technological flaw in my inability to understand how to do these things better. But anyway, so here it is. There it is. You can't see it, though, because it's backwards. So I'll read it to you. A traveling woman's tale. That's my kind of book. A traveling woman's tale of crime and survival. Who was Ann Gregg? The untold true story of one of Cumberland's most determined felons, by David Cooper Holmes. David Cooper Holmes this is his 6G grandmother. And he didn't carry the name because we don't do that. We carry the name from the father. So that's where I had to trace all this back. He actually did the tracing. I just did the listening and reading the documents that he gave me. But I am a 6G granddaughter of Ann Gregg's brother William, who was born in 1753. And he was born out of the relationship of Shadrach Gregg and Anne Strickland. And Shadrach Gregg was born in 1731. So this book is about that family, and specifically the life of Ann Gregg and her criminal record. Baptismal records prove they were born and the date. So these dates aren't actually the dates of when they were born. These are the dates that they were baptized. And then when they were arrested. And it's not a very cheerful story. It's frankly quite brutal, some of it. But I finished reading it. And maybe that's where the stealing the tea comes in. Ann Gregg was some stuff from the back of the book. Sentenced to death in 1777. Sentenced to transportation in 1794. Sentenced to transportation again in 1824. She had 14 aliases. Now, some of you out there watching may know that I have a few different names myself. I don't think I have 14. But she had 14. She was incarcerated in 9 different gaols. Gaols. It's one of those situations where I've been reading it. It's not my native tongue. It comes from probably Gaelic, meaning jail. Was incarcerated in 9 different jails. Escaped 4 times. Actually, one of the times she escaped and then surrendered herself back. She got dressed up and snuck out of the jail. Came back a couple days later and said, yeah, I'm back. I want to serve the rest of my sentence. Oh. Interesting. She never left the country and lived to the age of 92. That's old for that kind of lifestyle. So she was from Scotland. County something. Oh, geez. I don't know exactly the county. But I would do it in service if I didn't tell you that this was not just the story of the Gregg family, because the Gregg family also involved the Hutchinsons and the Barrys. So I want to, my hats off to that part of the family, which I haven't met yet. But they were traveling tinkers and gypsies. They were the real gypsies. They weren't just people pretending to be gypsies. And I think that's the piece of it that really was a real hard life. It was impoverished. They were impoverished, deep, deep poverty. They didn't live in houses because they didn't have the money for houses. And they didn't actually live in their vehicles until later on. They would build temporary structures to live in, as my dad used to say, down by the river. Literally down by the river. It was the headwaters of a river, and I can imagine it may have been small enough at times to cross it quickly if you were trying to evade someone. That's what I sense. But here I am, holding a book, written, beautiful archival paper, documents, photographs. Well, wait, it's not photographs. They are, oh yeah, drawings of things. Yeah, there's no photographs, so. But I don't use the word gypsy lightly. So that's what I woke up thinking about this morning, maybe. And I wanted to share the book with you. Down in the description, there's a link to the book. Oh, that's right. Cumberland. Cumberland where? I think it's in the UK. I think you'd call it the UK. It's close to Scotland and Ireland. And that's where I believe David Cooper Holmes is, the author of the book, my 6G cousin. And he gets to actually go to the places where Anne and her family and his 4G aunts and uncles used to roam, 'cause all of them. So anyway, gosh, it's not even light out, but I really do reflect on what the long, cold winter nights would be for people before our era with electricity. I've got fancy solar, recharging all the little lamps. You see, these oil lamps are fake oil lamps. They're really LED lights. And 6G grandfather William, well, he survived and lived to be 92. So they had something going. And I think it was family. And a strong bloodline of family. But again, here's the book, the link, like, subscribe, and maybe even someday I'll be able to travel and you can come with me if I ever go to Scotland and walk in the same woods that Ann Gregg lived in. Thanks for listening. Yeah, I know. You're like, oh my God, she still hasn't washed her hair. I imagine Ann Gregg had the same problem. Sometimes things don't change. Again, in gratitude. And until next time.